Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Thursday afternoon, the USC commitment sweatshirt comes back on. Three-star defensive lineman Floyd Boucard committing to USC after just a couple weeks ago decommitting from Oklahoma. Look, the USC fans who have been rocking with the boys going back to the summer and spring months as we've talked about this USC team on the recruiting trail, y'all know that Floyd Boucard is kind of my guy in this 2025 cycle. I think straight up it's a crime that he's a three-star according to pretty much every service that you look at. Floyd Boucard is a fascinating prospect with a ceiling that's just about as high as any interior defensive lineman that you see in the 2025 cycle. Now, why he might be a little bit undervalued according to the recruiting services. This kid grew up in Canada. He was playing hockey, transferred to a small school in Alabama during his junior year, had 85 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, extremely productive, but not necessarily against elite competition. And oftentimes that makes it hard to get on the recruiting services radar. Transfers down into Miami Central. We'll probably circle back to talking about Floyd Boucard come signing day. I can't wait to see what this kid's film looks like as he's playing some of the highest level high school football that you see in the country. But at the end of the day, this is a kid that you just want to bet on. Like at 6'3", 315 pounds, he is extremely versatile. Like I think he could play the nose. I think he could play the three tech. You take a look at the high school film. He's coming off the edge routinely at the high school level. But I think most importantly, man, it's so hard to find a defensive lineman that has the size that Floyd has in 6'3", 315 pounds, and then combine that with the athleticism that he displays. Like you can tell that this kid was a hockey player growing up because the functionality that he has. And I ain't a hockey player, but I've tried ice skating. I know it ain't that easy. The feet, the quickness, the functional athleticism that he brings to the table, and you combine that with the power and violence that he plays with, this kid checks all the boxes. I can't wait to see where he finishes according to these recruiting rankings. And quite frankly, I don't really give a damn where he ranks. Like this is a phenomenal prospect that I think USC is getting. He's been one of my favorite prospects throughout the 2025 cycle. Fired up to get into the film. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the USC fans, been a blast talking this program, especially on the recruiting trail going back to the summer months. And we always said, if this team puts it together in the 2024 season, specifically on the defensive side of the football, and you see the player development, you see the defense that we expect from this USC team, this place ain't that hard to sell. And you're starting to see a lot of prospects take USC a little bit more seriously on the recruiting trail with the defensive coaching staff that I think is one of the best in the country. So appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Dog work, fight on, let it fly in the comment section. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Appreciate you guys. And without further ado, let's get into Floyd Boucard. And again, I think it starts with just the raw production that he had during his junior year. Again, this is a guy that's kind of relatively new to the sport of football. It didn't take this kid much time to really just insert his dominance at the high school level. And I think a fascinating conversation to have with Floyd Boucard is I think there's a really high ceiling. Like I don't think this kid has scratched the surface in terms of what he can be as a defensive lineman. Not a lot of technique. It's just a lot of power, violence, and athleticism, which is completely fine. Like get him working with Coach New and Coach Henderson, coach this kid up. I think there's a really high ceiling there. And then you look at the production, like 85 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, 11 sacks. We know USC likes to be really creative in terms of the defensive fronts they throw at opposing defenses. We've already seen that from Dan Lynn throughout the first couple games. Having a guy in Floyd that he, at times could play the edge, probably going to be more of a three tech, but I also think has the play strength and the violence to play as a nose as well. Like he can do the dirty work, but he also can give you a ton of juice in the pass rush from the inside of the defensive line as well. Not many boxes that I don't think Floyd Boucard doesn't check. And then you get into the film. And again, the film is such a blast to watch because this kid just routinely flashes, and it's from all over the defensive line. Take a look at him coming off the edge right here. Get off is really impressive. Like for a kid that's 6'3", 315 pounds, really good get off, big time athleticism. You're seeing some development in some hand usage, putting that offensive tackle right on his face. going after the quarterback, working on the edge once again here. He's got the power too. And you look at how he can give offensive linemen problems like, hey, I can go right through you. You probably want to see a little bit more low pad level from him. But again, you just see the raw strength that he has. Then you see the block destruction. We're going to get off the block. And then go be an athlete. Like, go get the quarterback. Floyd Boucard making it happen. Then you see him play on the inside. Kind of just a bull in a china shop. Like, interior offensive linemen really struggle with his get off, his quickness, but then also just like the raw power. I love what he does when he gets behind the line of scrimmage. Like, you see a lot of interior defensive linemen be able to get behind the line of scrimmage, but then not have the athleticism and the functional athleticism to go make plays on the quarterback or ball carrier. Like, Floyd Boucard, when he is behind the line of scrimmage, like, he's getting the ball carrier. And that's something that I think is really important to note as well. Again, what you see, a blend of violence, versatility, power, working on the edge here. Again, you're seeing him kind of still developing how to use his hands. Doesn't have a wide variety of pass rush moves, which I'm completely okay with. Like, not a lot of high schoolers have a ton of development in terms of their game, just relying on the physicality of their game. But again, you see the athleticism and power that he has. That's the baseline. Like, we need kids like that. And then we'll teach him how to be good defensive lineman, working more at the nose right here. Again, power in the hands, like just ragdolling this interior offensive lineman, throwing him to a side, stacking shed, and going making plays. Like the short area quicks, like you kind of play this one back here, working as a nose. This center doesn't stand a chance. Just gets thrown aside by Floyd. You see just the raw power that he has in the upper body, but then like change of direction and then go make a play on the running back. This kid's like a cat. And he's 6'3", 315 pounds. I'm getting a little giddy talking about him. He's been one of my favorite prospects throughout the 2025 cycle. You see the athleticism in space. What I'm most excited for, and for the USC fans, we're certainly going to do this. Like, I can't wait to get into the Miami Central film because I want to see what he can do against some of the best talent that you see in high school. Big time power coming off the edge. Like, a lot of tackles just can't deal with that kind of strength and that kind of bull. Really, really impressive prospect. You take a look at USC in the 2025 cycle. Like, USC got off to a really hot start in the spring and then kind of tapered off a little bit, lost a few commitments back in the top 10 once they add Floyd Boucard into this ranking. And you're seeing just so much buzz around USC on the recruiting trail. You take a look at the last couple of weeks, 5-star wide receiver Jerome Miles, 4-star linebacker Ty Jackson, now Floyd Boucard. There's a lot of prospects that are looking at USC, and I think this has to do with what they're doing on the field, specifically on the defensive side of the football. Like, you go back to last year, USC they didn't have a serious coaching staff. Like, if you're an elite prospect specifically on the defensive side of the football, why would you go to USC and get coached under guys like Alex Grinch, who have just proven time and time again that they don't get the best out of their players? Now you have not only just a legit defensive coaching staff, but I think one of the best coaching staffs in the country. Like, name me a better DC than Coach Dan Lynn. Name me a defensive line coach like Coach Henney that is having guys like Aaron Donald endorse him the way he is. Matt Entz, linebacker coach, former national champ at the FCS level as a head football coach. I don't think this defensive line staff gets much better. And as a result, you're seeing a lot of these top end kids want to go play their football for USC. Really exciting time for USC, not only on the football field in 2024, but what they're doing on the recruiting trail. And again, we know the recipe. Like, you got a good coaching staff. Now you got to stack the talent, get that talent developed. That's the recipe. It seems like USC is going in the right direction. Fired up about this one. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. Talk to y'all later. Peace.